thank you for coming tonight. So I think it's a great point she brings up. I think it's a combination of a lot of different things, but the root of it, I mean, getting down to the root part of it is the organization that, it's the organization within the city that kind of facilitates the programming and the messaging behind it. So I feel that and unless we make some really different changes, unless people start, really our community starts to get involved with what the commission is doing, really starting to put pressure on them as far as who we select as the leadership of that commission, and also more people like yourselves getting involved with the commission, because to be honest with you, commission has been here for what, 30 years? Well, 50 years, but 30 years collectively as being commissioned. So some of these people have served on the first march. And so the technology has changed, the way we message has changed, the way we market ourselves has changed. So a lot of these guys don't know how to do it or what to do. So it's going to take individuals like Bethany, who's really came in and took a huge role this year and really up in like the Youth Summit. You see, we've never had any marketing for the Youth Summit. This is our first year that we had a credit card link where you can make a credit card donation to scholarships. This is the first year they had a website. This is the first year they had procurement procedures. So there's a lot, this is 30 years. This is 30 to 50 years in the making where we're just now starting to market and advertise ourselves as the largest march in the nation, or even having basic communication methods to getting the word out about the march and the programming and what we do, so.
I mean, just to say that you're the largest, one of the things that I was happy about, and one of the reasons why I was so glad to be a part of the march this year, is because I want to be very honest with you. I said it when I was on stage. I lean more towards Malcolm. Up until just recently, I can't sit here and tell you that I was a big fan of Martin Luther King, because I wasn't. But so many people had been asking me, you know, you guys secured me so I couldn't go to other places, but everybody was asking me to come speak, and I just don't do phony. One thing that I've been blessed is the Most High has blessed me with enough finances now where I can do exactly and say whatever I want to whoever I want to say it to. I don't take advantage of that though, because that is a blessing. But through me, I said before I was going to start answering whether I wanted to be a part of these situations or not, let me go and do some real research. Everybody that's around me is probably 2 times smarter than I am. So I have one of the greatest research teams. I just happen to be the cutest. So they let me speak. But no, seriously. When I really did the real research, you see none of them smile, did you? When I did the real research, there was an evolution in Dr. Martin Luther King. I got a chance to talk to his son. His son told me Dr. Martin Luther King was conscious. Dr. Martin Luther King was conscious. Oh, well, let me see what's up. And towards the end of his life, it seemed like Malcolm was going in his direction and he was going in Martin's direction. And I believe that was the reason why they was murdered. I said what I wanted to do is come down and show a different side of Martin Luther King. Because I personally believe, once I truly researched him, that the Martin Luther King he was when he died would have turned his nose and turned his face away from the person that most of us want to talk about doing Black History Month. So that was what I was hoping to bring. But what I was going to say about the evolution of the march, they asked me, would I march? And I said, I don't do marches. And people say, why? I said, when I march, I have intent when I march. I believe when Black and brown people march, we should go to do something. Like, instead of marching to a Capitol, we should march to somebody's house. That's my personal opinion. Because what has happened during the 60s, when Black and brown people marched, they didn't know what we were going to do at the end. So they were afraid. Most Black people don't know the March on Washington in the beginning was a violent march. They was going to D.C. to do something. And what the United States government did was planted some very charismatic Black people to keep black people from being angry, but that is what I'm saying. What is the goals? I think the most powerful thing is once people know how big what you guys are doing, there must be purpose behind it. And now I see it is moving in that direction now. There is a culmination of things that are happening. Sometimes we want people to see what we're doing for our own egos rather than the true purpose. And now I'm seeing definite purpose. I'm listening to people. So many people came up to me today and said, David Banner, you pissed a couple of people off, but I really like what you were saying, youngster. And I was like, that's what I do. I'm the piss offer. But the thing that I will tell you guys is that with the amount of people that we have, I think what's happening, even with Obama running for president, people won't admit this. Obama could be the best or the worst thing that happened to black people, because black people showed up in ways. The reason why I knew Obama was powerful is because this was the first time I ever smelled weed at the polls. You never, I'm being real. Yeah. I've never smelled weed at the polls before. When Obama was running, I smelled kush and chronic and some other things I don't want to talk about. I was like, well, damn, Obama. But what ended up happening is when the everyday average person saw that it did not affect them in a positive way. In actuality, statistically, it got worse for black people, poor black people. But because we're such an emotional people and because he was a black man, we want to be emotional about it. I always tell people the being president, is it for image? I'm happy that he gave black people an image, but that's not what the presidency is for. Jewish people got $12 million in reparations for the Holocaust. Most people don't know that, but America was not involved in the Holocaust. What did black people get? Nothing that you can write on a sheet of paper. So in our movements, we must make sure that it is something that we can retrieve, that we can write on paper, that we can show for our people, because black people are tired of just doing the dance. And they're getting to the point where the young people, the millennials, they say that the millennials don't stand for nothing. I don't believe that. They're just tired of the same things that our grandparents used to do, and they want some real guidance and something of substance.
So this is my first march in 5 years. Like, I don't go to the marches simply because before I go there, there was church at the end. And I'm like, all right, I can go to church on every Sunday if I want to. This is the first year I went, and simply because you were going to be there speaking, I knew it was going to be some marching orders coming out of it. Now, we went to the end procession last year, and it was kind of like reading off a script. Guy came in and then just left right away. You walked through the crowd, man. You walked through the people and everything. So when we marched today, Kevin Shandy back here is the director of our Eastside Boys and Girls Club here in San Antonio, also a classmate of mine from Sam Houston. We talked to some of his graduates there, and it speaks exactly what you were saying about millennials. They don't want to just march. Like, these guys are the first class, and I'm seeing that are leaving San Antonio and anxious to come back and do something. Mm-hmm. Most other folks are taught, like, you need to leave, just go, move out of the hood. Mm-hmm. These guys are trying to come back and fix it. So your message today was right on point, but I do think what today was the first time I've seen the march end up with some marching orders at the end.
Right. And that was something that I said that I did want to do. What I was afraid of, like when I first came out on stage, and I'm never shaky. The one thing that I didn't want to do though is I didn't want to split a definite rift between the old people and the young people. I definitely have a young person's message. It's hard for our parents to realize that they've been lied to. That was the hardest thing about me becoming conscious. Like I told people, I remember reading about the Council of Nicaea and finding out that maybe the stories that we've learned about religion is false. Imagine being from Mississippi and everything that you've been taught, you learn that maybe it's a lie. Something called cognitive dissonance. That's what I pay my grandma. I don't care if God, him, her, or itself could come down and it could be shining. And if it's anything besides what's in that Bible, my grandma didn't want to hear it. So the one thing that I didn't want to do in my own arrogance is come down here with the message that I know or believe that is true, but it's untimely. We had a time where y'all had brung together groups of people. I was telling Brother Edward, that was the message that Minister Farrakhan was trying to make in the Million Man March. I paid when I was in college to go to the Million Man March on my own. It was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. This was the only thing that I've seen since then that's anywhere similar to that. I mean, just to see black and brown people all over, like almost as far as you can see, that touched my heart. So I realized I have to do just enough to satisfy the people who came to see David Banner, but then give somewhat of a message that can keep our parents locked up enough to allow them to understand. Because one of my messages is this: when a racist white cop pulls you over, he doesn't ask you, are you Muslim? Are you Christian? Are you gay? Are you straight? No, you black. Get your ass down on the floor. Or you brown. Get your ass down on the floor. So we have to find some kind of way to because one thing that I can say about rich white people is they're about one thing. That's money and white supremacy. However you want to make it be, whatever it is. We have to find some kind of common ground for people to come together. And I don't know how y'all have done it, but y'all have done a great job. Now it's time for you guys to find a way to move that in a direction. If reparations happen, that's fine. I support reparations, but what I really want from the American government is to leave black people the fuck alone. That's what I really want. Like, just to be honest, I mean, just to be, but yeah, just to be very honest with you. Put your phone down. I don't, yeah.
It's for a video project for my Black Lives Matter.
Okay, but I just think one of the reasons why we don't get anywhere is because we're always videotaping. Every time we are in meetings, when the government is conspiring against our children, you don't see that on Facebook or on Twitter. I think one of the reasons why we can never get forward is everybody always knows black people's plan. When we go do a town hall meeting, that's one thing that I told my friend Ricky Smiley. It's up on BET. We can't get nowhere doing that. Like, it's always cameras. We have turned into perpetual snitches without even knowing it. Like, people know what we're doing and where we are. Like, as an entertainer, I can't even be covert because everybody knows, oh, David Banner, he down on the Riverwalk. Oh, David Banner's, like, to me, if y'all go and Google my movement, the God Box, you can't find a video of what I'm doing. Because first of all, I want it to be ghost-like. I want black people to feel like you got to get off your ass in order to hear what I have to say. You have to buy a ticket. No, you can't Google me. No, you can't get on Twitter and see what I have to say. Yeah, I'm a ghost. Yeah, you have to pay for it. Because we have turned into slaves by thinking that everything is free. That in order for you to be a true revolutionary, you can do it by hashtagging something. That just ain't good enough. One thing that I always tell people is you can say what you want to, but the Muslims really mean it. Christians talk that smack, but Muslims run up in the church with a bomb strapped to them, ready to do something. That's faith to me. We haven't reached that level of understanding. So for me, the only reasons why I tell people that I don't personally like cameras is because it's not their business what we're doing. We might come up with something right now that can change the whole state of our people. It may come from there. But if it's on Twitter before I can get out of here, people ready for it. But to answer your question, love, directly, if it's for your class, it's fine. Come on, get it. I'm ready. I mean, but shit, if it's gonna get you an A, you better go get it. I might take my jacket off for you. But what I'm saying is this is what I believe. A lot of people say, you know, they always want black people to get their stuff together, but historically, every time black people have gotten their stuff together, it has even been thwarted by either the federal government or tax problems or whatever it may be, or they just straight burn our shit down. So for me, in a lot of cases, black people are scared to go out of anything besides the auspices of white supremacy. That was the reason why I asked black people today in the march, like, what is your goal? Like the college students, what are you going to school for? Are you going to school to invest in white supremacy so you can individually be all right, your families can be all right, or can you affect people all over the world? You know, the one thing that I fight against is my own legacy. I told people one day when I realized that I wanted to step away from the rap game for a while, I said I don't want to die, and the only thing people know about as far as David Banner is concerned is like a pimp. I like that, it's cool. Play, I enjoyed that moment in my life. That happened, but the thing about reparations is, honestly, although I applaud if black people are able to get reparations, mentally, our people are not prepared for reparations because, like all these basketball and football players, at least 85% of them end up being broke anyway because they go and take their money and give it right back to them. That's why they don't mind giving us money because we don't know what to do with money. We go give it right back to them. You know, so for me, it's really about our community doing for self. That was my message. I wasn't able to end it the way that I truly wanted it to because I had gotten the crowd to where I wanted to, and for what I was trying to do, I thought I should cut it. But the real thing that I wanted to tell people is like, we're always looking for white supremacy to do better, and they never will. I'm gonna ask you a very serious question. If you had a pet snake, right, and that pet snake bit you, would you be surprised? That's why I don't understand why black people and brown people are surprised by white supremacy. It has always historically done the same thing, and we're still waiting on them to do better. There's only two things in this world that white supremacy respects, and I say this over and over again, and I will say it till I die. They only respect the loss of life or the loss of money. The reason why I believe the president did what he did for that group of people, because he needed that constituency, because them people run most of the world. That's why he gave that money. And it had nothing to do with doing what's right. Politics ain't about doing what's right. Always remember, politicians are whores. And good people are going to have to do the same thing evil people do. You're going to have to invest in you some whores. Then if they don't do what you tell them to do, you whoop on them. No, that's just the truth. And that's why the kids listen to me, because I don't talk over their heads. It's the truth. They're prostitutes for the most part. You have some good ones. You have some good ones. But for the most part, black people don't invest in politics. So if you don't invest in power, why would power invest in you? It's not logical. We try to look at this stuff as like a science. It's not. It's easy. You invest in a person, you build them up. If they don't do what you say, you pull a rug from up under them. Everybody wants me to be a politician. I'd rather be a billionaire and buy me a young politician. And he better do what I say if I invest money in him. Because I get, what?
You making me scared of this, brother.
You should be.
Akeem, I got a question for you.
What's up?
So you kind of moved, you not kind of, but you moved here and you moved in silence and you attained some roles and you did so rather quickly and to be such a young guy. Talk to us about, you know, not even what you encountered, but how did you prepare yourself for those type of meetings? I know, because you don't post a lot about your rise at all. And at your age, you can reveal your as you wish, but talk a little bit.
Yeah, I'm 25 years old. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I'm from Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, and I think where I'm from is who I am. And people say, well, it's not that. You should never quote that. You should never. No, I'm not ashamed of that. I'm from the hood. I'm from Bedford-Stuyvesant, and I'm not ashamed of it. My grandmother bought her brownstone in 1957. She enriched in all of us that we have to continue our legacy. She wanted to make sure that no matter what we did was to get educated. And so this idea of the talented 10th that many people question, I'm not ashamed of that either. My role in this community is to help people. It's not to receive roles or positions for myself. My job is to help people. And so I invested in myself so that I could invest in other people. Right. And so every time I walk into a meeting, every time I get up in the morning, it's trying to figure out how I can help other people. When people throw darts at me, I know I'm getting my job done. Right. So when my name is being brought up and I'm being slashed and people have shit to say about Akeem Brown, I know I'm doing my job. Because I helped somebody and you felt like you were supposed to get help. So that means I'm doing my job. Yeah, I move in silence. I don't post on Facebook that I just met with Bill Greehey or Red McCombs, or I don't have to say every time I'm meeting with Ivy and having lunch. I don't need that, right? Because again, my role is to help people. And so, yeah, I'm young. I get knocked every day, and David hit something right on target. You know, how do we keep those old people listening? I tell people every day that I'm not trying to get rid of the old guard. I want them to sit next to me.
Right.
I want them to support me.
Right.
I want them to support me. And I necessarily believe, or I believe that it is necessary that, you know, we have that support level, because there has to be a level of continuity so that we don't make the same damn mistakes. But then we got to be honest. They got to tell us the mistakes that they made,
Right.
and we got to listen. But then they got to listen to what we have to say as well. And so a lot of the old guard doesn't want to understand that about me. And so I have to move in silence. And I'm a firm believer in one thing that W.E.B. Du Bois said, many things, but one thing, that now is the time. Now are the hours of work, and tomorrow comes harvest and playtime. And so it's our job to work. You can't come here for play. Don't just come here for play. Everybody want to show up for the after party, but nobody came to the damn job or the planning meeting. And that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem that I have. And so that's the role or the attributes I feel that I bring to the table, you know. But again, my job or what I do is never about me. It's changing trajectories for communities.
Right.
You know, every role that I've had, these 3 roles that Christian was talking about, has been in the same community. It has been dedicated to the same people. And I'd never give the shit about the position.
Right.
The position don't mean nothing to me. I'm still gonna work with the same people and get the same things done. So, you know, that's why I move in silence. I hope I answered your question. That's why I do what I do.
You got to train the people. I mean, just regardless of how you get black folks together, it's amazing to get black folks together without having an 808. You know, that's one of the things that I am the most proud of what we've created with the God Box Lecture Series. I have nearly 1,000 people come every time I speak without any music. The thing is it's something like Tai Chi. You first of all have to get the movement, and then you direct the movement, regardless of whether it's negative energy or positive energy. I just got to move that towards you. Maybe I give you one to the face every now and then, but all I am doing is redirecting energy. See, a lot of times, again, it's ego. To me, I honestly don't really care what or why black people get together. I love to see them together regardless. I have there's a lot of stuff I don't agree with. Some of the stuff happen to be in our churches. I'm happy to see black folks together, however they get together. But if you have them together, and then they give someone like me an opportunity to speak, we may not get that opportunity in any other way. That was one of the reasons why I decided to come. We want black folks to get together, but then we want them to get together the way that we want them, specifically. What I tell people all the time, and all of my people will tell you, I don't necessarily know that I'm right, but I know that shit that they used to teach us is definitely wrong. So I just want to get people to think different. Just consider me. So the thing that I will ask you, bro, because to be honest with you, some of the things that you even talked about, you should really research where the money come from. Oh, of course. So we can pick at anything that we want until we're able to get things from people who we definitely trust. You understand what I'm saying?
And that was part of it.
Did you hear what I said about Martin about the last 5 years of his life? By the end of his life, most of the people, both in the movement and in the church, hated him. And that's one of the things that's so amazing. They were talking about it on Twitter today, and I was like, that's what I was trying to tell people. Like, yo, the same people who said that he was the most dangerous man in the United States end up taking his image and turning it and making it be, you know, the kindest man in the world, the man who's done the most for the movement. This is the only thing that I will ask you is, like, whatever you feel like the people should do, find a way to do it yourself. If you feel like other people, that's what we did with the God Box Lecture Series. I have to be honest with you. I am a visionary, but I didn't see this aspect of my life. I own a multimedia company. I did all the music for Gatorade. Similar to what he said, I didn't tell black folks for 6 years what I was doing, and I did that on purpose. I said, I want to make sure that I got this right. Because if I say something too early, then everybody will do it just because it's a cash cow, not for the culture and not for the proper reason. So one of the things that I realized was this, is that I don't know whether I'm right or wrong, But instead of tearing down someone else's movement, I will make my movement open for people to come to. And the one thing that I realized about vibrations is that my vibrations have raised in the last 5 years, and all we really have to do is stand still. I barely have to audition for movies anymore, and I don't have the #1 song in the nation anymore. People feel what's right and what's wrong. But regardless of what you said, I hadn't seen the other stuff you were talking about. The other 2 things you were talking about, I didn't see that. I saw today. And today was amazing for my eyes. And being in the moment. And in actuality, in this moment was one of the greatest opportunity for me to change people's lives who had never heard anything like that. I want you guys to remember one thing, and then I'm going to be quiet for a minute. We judge people based off the information that's in our head. And again, because of our ego, we think they know what we know, but they don't. That was the main thing I heard today. In actuality, when I walked off stage, I thought I didn't do that well. But people were coming to me, they said, well, the reason why we weren't clapping, because you blew our damn mind. We wasn't expecting that, Mr. David Banner. And that's all we want from our people is for them to consider. Because, bro, we have had over 300 years of wrong programming. And as much as we would like to feel like our people have learned new information, they haven't. They hurting, and they going through the same perpetual stuff over and over again.
It's about 40% African American, which is out of 130,000 people, 40% of those folks are black. So, but 57% are Latino, and then we have Caucasian and Asian folks. But the key, I think, what he was talking about in Invest, majority of my donors, even though I support this black district on the east side of San Antonio, come from the north side and the richest parts of the city. They don't come from the east side of San Antonio. So I understand that, and I still do what I'm going to do because I'm from the east side, but I find a way to make it work. But if I lived in District 8, then I feel okay. I wouldn't have any problems because all the people around me are giving me money. But if I'm in District 2, it's only like 1/10 of the money that I raised to run a campaign to beat other people from the district. Or I think it's a scenario where if we want real politics for us, you can have your councilman, you can have somebody fighting for all these things, but knowing that if all of these people over here who are investing in my campaigns, investing in the work that I do, so I can bring people like David Banner to San Antonio and Hill Harper to San Antonio and Jadena to San Antonio, it's a hard balance to make, but I shouldn't have to make that decision. I think is kind of what he's saying. If you're my community, if I could get $1 from 130,000 people, I have 3 campaigns. Yep. And I wouldn't even have to listen to anybody from the north side. I could do my own thing. Yeah.
Where black people are mentally. See, in my lectures, this is what I talk about, and sometimes it makes people uncomfortable. Most black people don't like being black, and they won't admit it. So from a social perspective, I watch how we wear our hair. I watch the things that we invest in when we say we broke. We say we broke all the time, but we find money to buy the most expensive white people stuff. I gave the example of a Louis Vuitton. We'll buy a Louis Vuitton, and the only time they put a black person on a billboard is when he has on a dress. But we will break our neck for that. Anytime it has something to do with a black person, we want a discount. Sister, I applaud you for buying my apparel, but I tell black folks all the time, I give it to you for free before I give you a discount. I'm not cheap. One of the things that the Muslims taught me in Chicago, I never forget this, they gave me the President Obama, Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, security detail. And I told them, I said, brothers, I'm from the streets. I don't need all this. They said, brother, let us treat you like a king. So when these kids see you being treated like a king and you from the hood, they'll feel like they're royalty too. we first have to change the mental aspect of black people, because they talk about fallout. They talk post-traumatic syndrome or post-traumatic PTSD, exactly. But black people went through it for over 300 years, every day. It wasn't just like a 2-month war, a year war. And we never, ever had mental therapy, physical therapy, spiritual therapy, ever. I'm even surprised that black and brown people are the people that always fucking talk about peace when we the ones getting our ass kicked. It's so backwards. So for me, what I've realized is that's one of the reasons why I lecture. It's because now I understand it without anger. I understand why it was so hard for people to listen to me before, because I used to be so pissed off. I'm not mad at white folks no more. I just want them to leave us alone. Just let me do what I do. So in me saying that, to answer your question clearly, before we can get them to understand that they need to invest in him, I realized this coming out of Mississippi. I had to make people be proud of Mississippi before they could ever be proud of David Banner. Right. Because of what they went through. So I make them proud of being from Mississippi. Don't worry about me right now. Don't worry about no album, nothing. Be proud of what you're from. So I start getting on my album and say, you know, you talk about the South, but where your motherfucking grandma from? And that's why I would say stuff like that. And people were like, yeah, David Banner, yeah. Then instead of wearing Mississippi t-shirts, I got it tattooed on my back. Right. They could burn Mississippi if they took black folks out of there. If they took all the black folks out of Mississippi, they could burn it. But if there's one black person in Mississippi, I'm gonna keep this tattoo on my back forever. Because even if I start acting funny and I turn my back on my people, they'll still be able to read Mississippi. Right. So in me saying that, before we can ask them to invest in someone else, we have to show the value and the worth in them. We have to show them, like, people try to get us to forget our history and the things that happened to us historically, but we gotta hear that shit about them every day we go to school. If we can find a way to instill some type of love, some type of worth, self-worth in our people, then maybe they can start investing their money in them. It's not a money thing, it's a psychological thing, in my personal opinion.
I totally agree. I think the biggest issue is that we depend on other people to do everything for us. And I mean that even for the people who look like us. So we expect them to support us. It's like, no, we got to support ourselves. And you know, the biggest thing that David said, and I think the councilman was trying to say as well, is expectations and behaviors have to shift and change. And the only way to do that is by doing it. You know, the number one thing that I have a problem with is when people, and my friends have heard me say this on numerous occasions, well, we got to elect this person. All right, well, I didn't like what this person did, so I'm ready for the next person to come in. No, you wouldn't hire the COO of your company if you were the CEO and you were looking for the number 2 person. You would not hire that person based off of their personality. That would only be a factor in it. You would hire if that person was well equipped to lead. And so for our communities, that's the same thing for politicians. For us to invest in them, we're picking them to lead us. We need to have our priorities in order. You don't pick a CEO of your company if you're on the board unless you, as a board member, know the principles and values of your organization. It's just that simple. So unless we know where we want to see our community go, don't put the person that's going to drive this car in the driver's seat unless we know if they're capable of doing it. That's true. That's facts. And we have to start doing it. Let's not expect people to do for us just based off of them looking like us. Because that's not going to happen. Because if they don't respect that within themselves, they're not going to connect to it. So it's just like you said, insecurities. I can't change what's within you. You have to do that for yourself. I can't touch that. And so you got to trust yourself. To trust another person is really difficult if you don't trust yourself.
Can I add on to that? Do y'all see, and all over the United States, do you see Asians heavily into the political process?
Not at all.
You want to know why?
Self-interest.
No, because they own their own shit.
They don't need it.
It don't matter who the president is. That's not going to stop their bottom line. They don't care about politics. They own their own stores. They own their own communities. They own their own stuff. So it really doesn't matter who the president is at the end of the day. And he said something that was so powerful. Brother, I'm gonna give you some credit for that, brother. That might be in my next speech. But I want to make a slight turn. they should not be our leaders. Yes, we should put them in the driver's seat, but we also have to give them the direction.
That's right.
We are the GPS. But the problem is we put people, I'm going to tell you, like people want me to be a leader. People only want me to be a leader, so I go out there and die. That's really what they want. You going out there, David Banner, and be gung-ho for us. And I was like, the sad thing is, I might do that for you, but even if they kill me, you're not going to do shit about it.
That's right. That's right.
So in me saying that, when the things that we do, and I watch people do me like this, they put you in a position and say, go ahead. Y'all didn't do nothing about Biggie. You didn't do nothing about Pac. You didn't do nothing about Malcolm. You didn't do nothing about Martin. I think a lot of the men were a lot greater than me. What the hell you think they're going to do for me? You did it for, even in the story of Jesus, they let that pop off and step back. They watched him. Wow, he's just sitting up there. I love him. Yeah. So, and me saying that from the political process, that's the one thing that Brother Edward Muhammad taught me. He said, we get so emotional about the political process. He said, but if you want to look at something that works, look at the Tea Party. Them folks were not qualified. They had a goal, even if the goal didn't make no sense.
That's right.
And they all got together and knew exactly what they wanted and put their people in power and watched them. Yeah, you better do it. It's not hard. It's not hard. People just don't want, you said it, they just don't want to do the work. And I see people up here every day who give their whole lives for something. I'm going to tell y'all this and I promise I'm going to shut up. The new Black Panther Party, I pulled them all together today in a circle. And I said, brothers and sisters, I'm proud of y'all. And they said, why you say that, David Banner? I said, because I know how it feels to fight for your people and your people turn their back on you. Y'all are giving up y'all life. You know, by even saying that you are a Black Panther, it's going to be very hard for you to ever get a job. I applaud you, and I thank you. I even saw one of the sisters who had her little child out there with the red, black, and green flag out there. He's being marked for the rest of his life. She was willing to give her child up for the movement. And in most cases, black people will turn their faces and turn their nose up at them people. And I don't know how much me thanking them meant, but I know how it felt for me to give up my career. Jasmine told somebody on Instagram, on Facebook, she checked him, and I never thought about it like this. They said, David Banner is fake conscious. Jasmine say, where you get money at being conscious at in America? If he was gonna be something, he would keep being a gangster rapper. It's anything. Right. You don't make no money being conscious, not in America. So in me saying that, what I will ask, and I will tell you in me closing, is that there will never be a kumbaya moment when it comes to black and brown people. That you're gonna have to sacrifice some of us. And all black people wanna see is some success. These kids don't want to sell dope, but at least when it comes to a dope dealer, they see the women, cars, and the money. I can't act like I wasn't part of that life. But at least we have to show them some success. I'm not saying support just me, but if you support me just so they can see somebody that is successful, because most people that I look up to is broke or crackheads now. Most people that I got knowledge of self from, they poor. We are people of opulence. Don't forget that. Don't forget where we come from. We like shiny things. That just doesn't come from capitalism. We like shiny things. But the thing is, we have to show some success. So you don't need anything more than the people that's in this room to start something. And once black people see success, I promise you they'll follow you.
And I just don't want to let it be at this room. I think I need to see more gold teeth in this room. I need to see more of my people from Santa's and Smitty's and all these places, because there's 1,000 people out there in the streets, which is why I was a little bit late, because they were loving it. They were just praising. Just they love hearing the message, but they would even benefit even more from this question and answer session. So we just got to open up the room, because I see a lot of faces, and I know we're in the struggle, but none of us in this room are struggling, you know. So let's get some.
They said shit. Dude was like, I don't know, dog.
We gotta carry that as the talented. As the
come on now.
We gotta carry the idea that we have not been touched, we ain't having a struggle. We have no smudges.
It's a different struggle.
It's a different struggle.
But I definitely think that there's so much more that we could share with the other folks out there that I was shaking hands with and going around and talking to.
But all I'm saying is that it doesn't take 1 million people. I just think that we have the misconception that it takes 1 million black people to get something. In actuality, a strong business network can start right here. That we can bring other people in, because like you can bring folks in at this planning level right now, but because they're hurting, bro, if I can't see it now, that's what I used to tell all my homeboys. Like when I first got on, I said, I can't give you dope boy money, but I can make sure that you make enough money where you won't have to be taking penitentiary chances. But if I were not able to offer them something, I wouldn't have been able to hold their attention through a planning period. When folks are hurting, they want to eat right now. So it takes the people in this room to set up a safeguard and a system where people can be able to eat. Because folks can only eat off of hope for so long. That's why I don't judge people that come from anything. Because I know if I get hungry, you might see another day. I've been conscious since the 11th grade. That consciousness don't work when you broke. It just don't. But I appreciate you, bro.
I think that's a word we've been missing. And progressive is a powerful term, and I think that's what we all are. And it's kind of going back to who we used to be. So in light of this being Martin Luther King Day and he being such a powerful advocate for integration, I just wonder if you think, and if so, what your thoughts are on us having integrated. What did we lose in integration that we may have kept and could benefit from today?
We might not ever be able to leave.
Because this client is not allowing me to stay past 8:30.
I'll say it real quick. First of all, towards the end of his life, Dr. Martin Luther King actually said that temporary separation is necessary in order for us to become the powerhouses that we need to be in order to be around each other. I personally think that integration was the worst thing that happened to black folks. I personally believe. And it's not that I don't think that we can synthesize and be around other people, but once we gave up our power and started wanting to be around other people, our communities disintegrated. And I always tell people, lions hang around lions, tigers hang around tigers, and everybody go to the watering hole and kick it. I don't have a problem with the watering hole, but I just honestly think that what has happened is like when I go to these colleges, a lot of these kids never thought about getting their education to go back to their communities and help out. Nobody's ever posed that to them, because all black folks want to do is be around white folks. That's all they want to do. And that's crazy, because most white folks, a lot of these white folks who think black people hate white folks so bad, the average black person love them some white folks. They want to be up under white folks all the time. The thing for me is this, is that there was a reason why we are what we are. And until, again, psychologically we embrace who we are, we will forever be running. Right. We'll be running for something else. So I think we lost everything with it integrating. But what I will say is, this is a small step towards us getting ourselves together. And the sad thing about it is, you can be Celtic, you can have white pride, any kind of thing, you can be rebel, Dixie, and America applauds that. But anytime black folks want to get around each other and build each other up, it's radical. Anytime I say something towards that, it's a fucking rant. I hate the word rant. I'm only speaking the truth. This is what I tell you. But one thing that he said that I was so proud of is I've just learned this. They don't have to know what we're doing. Just get together and do successful shit. Like me, by the time America sees what I'm doing, like, exit the camera. By the time America sees what I'm doing, by next year, it's gonna be too late. I call it the Will Smith syndrome. Them folks hated on Will Smith so hard, but then they realized, shit, I can't. It's not even worth it. He gone. And in closing, I'm gonna tell y'all something Will Smith did. Don't have nothing to do with Black Power. Will was in Philadelphia, right? Place where he from. He was on the radio station, and this morning show dude was just capping on him. And, you know, Will a pretty cool dude. Will is actually one of the coolest dudes. I had a conversation one time. He was so cool, I really couldn't connect with him because I was like, damn, you Will Smith. But anyway, dude was capping on him, and Will said, stop. He said, I will buy your building. By the company that you work for, fire you, and sell the company, and because I'm Will Smith, it will sell for more. I will make a profit from firing you. I don't know what that has to do with today, but I thought that was dope.